What's going on, everybody? We're back with another coaching video, and today I'd like you to meet Andrew. Now, he contacted me after seeing my last coaching video that I had done with Chris and wanted me to do the same type of evaluation with him. Now, from what Andrew's told me, he is a woodworker by trade. And the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear something like that is, will he eventually be producing his own pool cues later on in the future? Now, just like with Chris, he has never played in any pool league, so he doesn't have any type of rank. So at the end of this, I will be giving my opinion of what I think his rank could be based on the APA format. Now, also with this review, we are going to try to do something a little bit different based on comments that I got from the previous video that'll hopefully help condense the time of the video. And that is, we're going to watch each rack uninterrupted, except I might mention a comment here and there as it's playing through. But then when the rack is over, we will rewind back to key points where I think I can offer some type of advice that can help improve his game. Now, again, do keep in mind that I am just giving my opinions. There are certainly other options that he could have taken. And if you identify any of those, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below with the timestamp of the shot and the other suggestion that you would give. And then also, don't forget to stick around to the end when I announce the winner of my 50,000 subscriber giveaway. Now let's begin. Okay, here we are with the first rack. You're going to be breaking from the side off of the short rail, so let's see how it goes. Okay, good break. You made a solid. You got a nice spread. So player 2 is going to be when you're shooting stripes. So whenever you miss a stripe, that's when I'm going to increase the inning count, at least for this rack. Okay, I already love that you're already starting to plan by looking to see where all of the other solids are on the table, instead of just getting down and just shooting at the first ball that you think you should shoot at. It looks like the poles are getting in your way. How often does that happen? Because I know you got to try to play a position where the poles aren't in your way. Okay, good shot on the 4 ball. Nicely done from an elevated position. Oh, and then just a bit of an undercut on the 3 ball. So now we're on stripes. So if you miss a stripe during this turn here, that's when I'm going to increase the inning count. If you were to happen to run out, you would still be on inning 0, and the striped player or the second player would be breaking on the next rack. Nice stop shot. Okay, good. It looks like you got positioned to where the pole is not in your way. Judging by your reaction, that's not the breakout that you were looking for. And we overcut the 11 ball. So now we're on 1 inning and we've turned back to solids. Whoops. Looks like we drew off the 5 ball a little too hard. It looks like you were trying to play position for the 1 ball to go into the side pocket, which would have been good. We just hit the ball too hard. So now with a cue ball in hand, what are you going to do with these last 3 stripes? I can already comment here that I'm going to predict that you're going to foul. The cue ball is really close to that 13 ball, and I'm more than willing to bet that you're going to double hit the cue ball. Watch the reaction of the cue ball, and let's find out. Yeah, you ended up hitting the cue ball twice, and you scratched anyway, so it was a foul nonetheless. That little head shake there makes me believe that that's not exactly what you were planning on doing, even though that was the pocket you were going for. Super thin cut shot on the 6 ball. Okay, nicely done. Okay, will you be shooting the 8 ball in the side pocket, or will you be going all the way down in the corner? Okay, nicely done. You're able to finish the rack off in 2 innings. I like the thumbs up there. Okay, so let's go ahead and rewind and let me show you some key points where I think you probably could have done something a little bit different. Okay, this is the first spot I'd like to start with. This is the opening shot that you took right after making a solid, and you decided to choose the 4 ball after you scoped out the rest of the table. Now, in my opinion, you should have chosen the 6 ball because I think this is a troubled ball. And anytime you identify a troubled ball, you want to try to deal with it as soon as possible because this ball only has one path to this corner pocket, and getting position for it is not really the easiest thing because of this 13 ball being in the way. You have to land somewhere right around here, or at least come in this window here in order to have a chance at the 6 ball. Now, from the position that you're in, you can currently do that. You could try to cut the 6 ball in and have two options from here. You could have the cue ball come 2 rails and get position on the 2 ball or even the 4 ball, since this is the path that it's going to go, by using a little bit of topspin and a little bit of left spin to go with that. The other thing that you could have done is, I think with just a center ball hit, the cue ball can come 1 rail. Actually, never mind. It probably would take a little bit of right spin and have the cue ball come over here and run into the 14 ball. That would allow you to have position on either the 2 ball or the 1 ball after that. And then now that your 6 ball is gone, you can just use the remaining solids to try to finish the rest of the table. This is the second spot I want to comment on. This was your second shot right after pocketing the 4 ball. Now, I'm assuming there's something behind you that actually causes you to elevate this high over the 9 ball. Normally, I wouldn't suggest elevating that high. You only need to elevate it as high as you need to in order to clear the obstructing ball. But that's not really the issue here because you did make the 2 ball. However, watch when I advance frame by frame what actually happens here. When you strike the cue ball, you see how the cue ball hasn't even made its way to the 2 ball yet, and you've already begun to pick up your bridge hand off of the table. Now, normally whenever you're shooting, we want to try to remain absolutely still and finish our shot with a good clean follow through, unless we know the cue ball is actually going to come back and hit us to where we might end up fouling. So regardless of whether you're in an elevated position or in a non-elevated position, stay down and actually finish your shot with a good follow through. Now at this point here, you already heard me mention about how you fouled by double hitting the cue ball on top of scratching. So what could you have done different? Well, I would suggest placing the cue ball, since you had ball in hand, somewhere right around here so that we can try to cut this ball into this corner pocket and have the cue ball come through here, hit the rail, and then try to hit the 13 from behind. That way the 13 ball gets pushed out into the open. Now, whether or not you'll have a shot on the 13 ball is not really that important because you have the 11 ball right here. So you would shoot the 11 ball next, try to get position on the 13 ball, and then try to finish the rack with the 8 ball. Another option that you could have done was place the cue ball right here and shoot the 11 ball into the corner pocket and try to get your cue ball to come over here and break this out. This particular shot probably would have required some type of right spin to go along with it. Basically speaking, you should have shot one of the other stripes and try to break the 13 ball out afterwards. However, if you are dead set on playing the 13 ball, in order to avoid double hitting the cue ball, you probably wanted to pull the cue ball back a little bit to around right here, and then try to cut the 13 ball into the side pocket like this and have your cue ball run into the 3 ball afterwards. That'll hopefully allow you to have a position on this ball, or if you're at least out in the open, you would have had this shot here. At least with a cut shot, you would be able to avoid the double hit. I would merely suggest trying one of the other stripes and then breaking out the 13 ball. And this is the last spot in the rack that I wanted to comment on. This was right after you double hit the 13 ball on top of scratching in the side pocket. And with cue ball in hand, I think this is what you were actually trying to do. You wanted to actually shoot the 1 ball into the side pocket without disturbing the 3 ball like you did. And have your cue ball just come over here and then shoot the 3 ball into the same side pocket afterwards, and then shoot the 6 ball down here, and then depending upon position from here, you'd either shoot the 8 ball into this side pocket or this corner pocket. At least I think that's what you were trying to do. Now, considering that you did disturb the 3 ball, let's eliminate that risk altogether. With cue ball in hand, place the cue ball right here instead, and then shoot the 1 ball into the corner pocket and just allow your cue ball to just follow up to about right here. Probably is going to require a little bit of topspin. Now, instead of shooting the 3 ball, we're just going to play a stop shot on the 6 ball because you did a stop shot earlier with one of your stripes. Now, with the cue ball being here, you just play another stop shot on the 3 ball, and then you have access to the 8 ball to go into the side pocket. Now, is this the only option that you could have done with ball in hand? Absolutely not. I just usually try to suggest paths like this or patterns like this because it requires very little cue ball movement. The only time the cue ball actually moved is when you allowed it to naturally roll forward after shooting the 1 ball, because then you just stopped on the 6 and then stopped on the 3. With this type of option here, or even if you were successful with what you were currently thinking about, you would have been able to end the rack on solids here instead of you did with stripes. So with that being said, I hope that was helpful for that particular rack. Now let's move on to the next rack. Okay, let's see how rack 2 is going to go. Now, you did finish the previous rack as player 2 because you finished as stripes when you actually started as solids. So player 2 is actually breaking right now. So an inning will not go up until you actually miss from this point here. We did a head-on break this time, and player 2 is still stripes in this case here because you made a stripe on the break. Everything looks really good with stripes right now, except for this little area right here. What are you going to do with that? You just looked at it. Okay, looks like you're planning ahead. Ooh, are you about to do a combo? Nicely done, and even made sure that the 14 ball hit the side rail and came back out in the open. Now you're going to shoot the 14 next. Awesome. Is the ball on the way? You hit it. What are we doing? Do you have a... Oh, you have a jump break cue. Andrew, when you actually watch this, leave a comment as to what cues are you actually shooting with? What kind of jump break cue is that? What is your shooting cue? You can definitely tell that's some sort of phenolic tip with the way that actually sounded. Nice. Another nice stop shot. You're really good at doing those. One ball left. How are you going to get position on the 8 ball? It looked like you're going to try to land right in the window between the 1 and the 3. Nice. Did you make it? Are you in the window? Nice. A break and run. Wow, that was awesome. There's really not a whole lot I can actually critique with that if you actually did a break and run. However, I did see one little mechanic that I would suggest, and that's this spot right here. You're using a rail bridge and you actually have your bridge hand placed underneath the cue. So now your cue is actually elevated more than it needs to be, in my opinion. Here I would suggest actually using a rail bridge where you actually place your bridge hand on top of the cue, and that way the thumb and the middle finger would actually be on the left side of the shaft, while your index finger would be on the right side of the shaft. Anytime that you have any type of elevation on the cue, and if you are applying any side spin, with this shot here, you didn't because you did a stop shot. But if you were applying side spin because you have elevation on the cue ball, you are going to cause your cue ball to actually curve. So when you're able to, try to keep your cue as leveled as possible. And in this case here, if you're going to use the rail as a bridge, then have your bridge hand on top of the rail so that way you can level your cue out a little bit more. This was awesome here. You're still only on 2 innings. Player 2 is up 2-0 right now, and I do have one more rack that I'm going to review. So let's go on over to that. All right, so here we are with the third rack. I did say before that I only wanted to review 2 racks, so that way we can try to keep the time short. But since you broke and ran the last rack here, I think it was perfectly fine to actually throw in a third rack on this one. So you're still player 2, since player 2 broke and ran the second rack. So let's see how the third rack actually goes. And it looks like we broke dry, so we are now on inning 3. So now you're actually returning back to player 1. And what is player 1 going to choose? Solids or stripes? Okay, looks like it's going to be stripes. And see, that was much better than the last one. Your hand stayed on the table, good straight follow through. Then you got up from the table when the shot was over. I think at this point, I'm starting to wonder, what are you going to do with these guys if you're actually going to be able to do another break and run? Okay, and with that miss, dropped another ball for player 2, actually. Player 1's turn's now over, so now we're going back to player 2, who is now solids in this rack. Okay, looks like you're going to go for the 6th ball. And we just undercut that ball. That moves us up to inning 4. Back over to player 1 on stripes. Whoops. Looks like we overcut that one. And seeing how close you actually came to that corner pocket and scratching, I think you probably actually would have scratched had you made the ball. The only reason why you didn't scratch was because you missed. Good shot. What do you have planned for this area right here with regards to being solids right now? Okay, good shot on the one ball. Made a ball for player one. Whoops. Well, in APA, that would actually count. So, for all my viewers, comment down below what APA actually stands for. I'm going to lead off with any pocket, amateur. Give me other types of meanings of what APA could stand for. Ooh, that looked like you were trying to do a three-ball combination. Nice try. Good shot. This looks like you can clean up with stripes. Good shot. And you got position on the 8 ball. Is the pole in the way? No. Okay. Kind of. Nicely done. Awesome. So I think at this point, when we do a rewind, I think I only saw like one or two spots that I actually want to comment on. So let's go back and look at that. Okay, this is the first spot I want to comment on for rack number 3. Now, after you made the 9 ball in this corner pocket here, you heard me say, what are you going to do with these 2 balls here? The 11 ball and the 15 ball. Now, at this point, I actually wasn't sure what I was going to suggest until I saw you make it later on in the rack. And that's for you to go ahead and shoot the 11 ball now into this side pocket. Your cue ball will naturally roll this way to where you can get position on the 14 ball to go into the side pocket. Then have your cue ball roll up like this to get position on the 9 ball, because from the 9 ball, we can actually try to get position on our last troubled ball here, the 15 ball, to go into the side pocket. And then from there, we would use the 12 ball to try to come all the way back around to shoot the 8 ball here into this corner pocket. That's at least one option I can see that is possible. And if you were successful, you would have been able to have a 3-inning round between these 3 racks here instead of the 5 as the rack proceeds to move on. Let me know, viewers, do you actually see another option that he could have done here? Because with that, I'm just going to move on over to the next spot to comment on. All right, this is actually going to be my final comment that I have for this rack here. You were actually trying to shoot the 6 ball into the upper left corner pocket, and you ended up undercutting it and missed. Now, had you made it, what were you planning on doing with the 2, 4, and 5 ball? Because later on in the rack, you ended up trying to do a 3-ball combination by shooting the 5 into the 15, have the 15 make the 4 ball into this corner pocket at a very crucial moment, and you ended up missing. What I'm suggesting at this point, you have actually 2 options here. You can try to shoot the 1 ball instead into the corner pocket, and with some top spin and probably a touch of right spin, have the cue ball come off the short rail and then head towards the clutter and try to open it up. Now, when you do stuff like this, are you guaranteed a shot? Well, no, but the probabilities are at least pretty high. You might be able to get a shot on the 7 ball at least, or have a shot on the 2 ball, depending upon how it all spreads out. The other option that you could have done still deals with the 1 ball, but instead we play this with some bottom right spin because we try to come 2 rails to get position on the 7 ball right here, because it does look like the 7 ball passes the 8 ball to go into this corner pocket, and that allows the cue ball to naturally flow right into the clutter. Again, not really guaranteeing that you might have a shot, but at least if we break them apart, then we can hopefully try to develop the table. And of course, if we don't have a shot, then we play some sort of safety. The other benefit, at least of this option here, is if you miss the position on the 7 ball and roll a little too far, well then your 6 ball becomes your backup ball after that. That's why I would at least suggest something like this. The other main reason why I suggest this is just like what you heard me say before. This is identified to be a trouble spot in my opinion, and you want to try to deal with it as soon as possible and not leave it to the end where it's critical that you have to be successful at making it, because if you don't, you could pretty much lose the game. Now, with that being said though, I think you played fantastically. You finished 3 racks in 5 innings and had a break and run in the 2nd rack. So with what I saw here, I think I would actually place you somewhere between the mid to high 5 range to possibly being a low 6. The reason for that is because of rack 1 and rack 3. Rack 3 being the most difficult one that actually gave you the most problems here. But there are actually some spots, especially when you had ball in hand, that you weren't actually able to finish the table. That's the reason why I'm putting you somewhere between the 5 and 6 range. Now, hopefully with the suggestions that I'm giving, and then of course with more practice, everybody gets better with practice, you are well on your way to solidifying yourself as an actual 6, and then of course moving on up to being an actual 7. Now, for my viewers though, what do you think of that assessment? Does that actually work? Is he actually in the 6 range? Leave your comments in the comment section. And also let me know, what do you think of this format? It looks like the video recording is actually going to be a lot smaller, somewhere between the 30 and 40 minute range. So let me know if this actually works out a little bit better, because that's probably how I'll try to do them for the future reviews that I'm going to do. But with regards to my 50,000 subscriber giveaway, let's head on over to my pool room. So first, let me start off by saying once again, thank you all from the bottom of my heart for all the support that you've given me since starting my YouTube channel a little over a year ago. I never would have imagined to be able to come this far and have my channel be as successful as it has been, and I owe it all to everybody out there. And that's why I do these giveaways. It's just my way of showing my appreciation for all the support that you continue to give. Now, with this milestone of acquiring over 50,000 subscribers, I decided to raffle off this brand new Lucasi custom hybrid cue, and I was also going to include this small sample pack of shark marks. Now, in this raffle, I had a unique 489 participants, and I've randomly selected Bryce Kimura, who wrote, "Come on, Lucasi. Thanks for the videos as always, Chris." Bryce, congratulations on winning the raffle. If you can do me a favor and just get a hold of me, you can find my email in the About section of my channel. As for everybody else, help me move my channel along and let's reach up to 75,000 subscribers, because that's what I'm going to do the next giveaway. So if you like what you saw, give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and please continue to take care of yourself, as it appears things are slowly starting to return back to normal. See you later, folks.